She was so comfortable with the official talk that she could listen with half an ear while she crocheted and thought about the afternoon she would spend with her good friend Eloise. They had been working on their masquerade costumes for weeks, but were going to pick bilberries today. Franklin's cook had already promised to bake a pie for each family if they would do the gathering. With the change of season, there would not be fresh berries for long. "The son of an old friend looking to settle here now that he's sold his commission. He shall arrive the 1st of next week. I did so admire his father, and am flattered that he asked for my help." Lila slowed the pace of her looping and hooking, and turned all her attention to the conversation. "Will he be settling in High Oak Hall permanently, then?" the solicitor asked. The sound of rustling paper informed Lila he was likely gathering up his records in preparation to leave. She hoped he would stay long enough to extend this topic. Uncle Peter had told her nothing of the son of a friend relocating to this part of the county. Why would he not have told her? "Or somewhere hereabouts," Uncle Peter said, his chair creaking. Likely he was leaning back to stretch his back after so many hours of sitting. He was an active man, and often went for a walk or rode his horse after his morning meetings. This was fortuitous for anyone hiding in his office, in that they could expect that shortly after his meeting he would leave the estate for his constitution and give a miscreant the chance to easily crawl from her corner without discovery. "I do so hope he takes a liking to Lila. She needs a steady sort of man." Lila stopped crocheting completely. "He had a military career, you say?" "Nearly 2 decades. He entered at 15, I believe." The solicitor was silent, and Lila suspected he, like her, was doing the math in his head. "How old is he then?" the solicitor said. 33. Lila felt her eyes go wide. 33! 14 years older than she was, and an ex-soldier. She was confused, or at least she wished she was confused. In truth, however, she understood too well what was happening. "Rather older than Miss Lila, then?" the solicitor said diplomatically. "We are not in a position to be too particular," Uncle Peter said, while Lila stared at the last row of stitches she had placed. "When Mortimer, I suppose I shall need to call him Mr. Luthford, contacted me of his hopes to come to High Oak Hall after his discharge, I told him of Lila and her circumstance. I did not want to mislead him, but he had said he was in search of an estate and a wife, so I saw little reason to be coy. To my delight, he was not dissuaded by her situation, and his status would secure Lila quite well. For my part, it would be a relief to see her settled, and I will be glad if Lila remains close to Franklin Farm. This may be the very thing for her." "Indeed, it sounds as though it will be a good fit," Mr. Jepson said. "I hope Miss Lila will be as easily entreated by the idea." Uncle Peter let out a heavy sigh. "There is the rub," he said. "I love her like a daughter, and dare say, after I lost Galen, she has been my greatest comfort. She does not feel the fear for her future that I feel, however." "Love is a tricky business," Mr. Jepson said. Lila could hear movement as he stood from the chair. Uncle Peter's chair creaked as well, and the 2 men's footsteps moved away from her. "I wish you the best," Mr. Jepson said. "Thank you," Uncle Peter said. "I fear I shall need all the luck I can find." The footsteps exited the room, and Lila sat with her past and future stripped naked before her. It was not Lila's fault she was born on the wrong side of the blanket, or sent to live with Uncle Peter a year before Lila's mother died in some London rookery. Mamma had never been able to rise above her poor choices, but hoped Lila would not suffer the same fate. And she hadn't. Lila had been living in High Oak Hall as the niece of a well-respected man for nearly as long as she could remember. She wasn't equal in status to her uncle, however, even though she was accepted into his social circle here. She would not have a London season. She would too easily become a source of gossip. And while her uncle had offered a generous dowry, that it came from him and not her own parents was damning. The growing realization of her situation was part of why she felt so sure Neville was her destiny. Yet Uncle Peter had not seemed to consider the match at all likely. Instead, he was bringing a man to Franklin Farm in hopes that he might capture Lila's interest, and her his. Was she considered an inappropriate match for Neville? She pushed away the question. She was perfect for Neville. This other man with a